Alrighty, y'all. Welcome back to SGDQ 2017. I will be your host for the next block. For now, I'm going to read a couple donations while they get all set up. We have $50 from Anonymous that says, "Good luck to all the runners." We have $50 from Parok Panda that says, "Thank you for everything." We got a $500 donation from Lee Breezy that says, "The GDQ events are my absolute favorite, and I couldn't be happier to see it back. Save those frames, kill those animals, and much love." Thank you so much for that. We got $150 from Binopolis that says, "Love this event. Many thanks to the runners and the ones doing all the hard work behind the scenes." Excuse me. I'm just going to take a second to remind you that we have a lot of really cool prizes, but the biggest one is the GDQ Custom Corsair PC. If you donate a cumulative amount of $150 throughout the week, your name will be put in a pool to get that prize, so make sure you get in because it's a really, really cool PC. We got $20 from Radium H that says, "TKR was literally the first game I ever owned. I haven't seen it in years, and it's mind-blowing to see it broken wide open like this. Awesome job, guys." Games Done Quick is now accepting bits during SGDQ. For each bit that Games Done Quick receives, we will give Doctors Without Borders 1 cent during SGDQ. Just want to give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors, Power Up Audio, an indie sound studio from Vancouver, Canada that worked on games like Battle Chasers and Crypt of the Necrodancer.
Thanks, yo.
I'd also like to give a quick shout out to one of our awesome sponsors, the Yeti. The Yeti is the official tea sponsor of Games Done Quick since 2012. And they have some really, really cool shirts available this week, so make sure you visit the website and check them out. We got $500 from Fangamer that says, "Hey there, it's Fangamer. We're putting 500 on the Chozo suit in Metro Prime to give it one more chance." Thank you so much for that. If you haven't already, you should sign up for Twitch Prime for free games, exclusive in-game loot, free channel subscriptions, and so much more. This month, the Twitch Prime members can get a bunch of really cool stuff, including a guaranteed legendary item in Overwatch with a golden loot box. GDQ is also offering a ton of awesome prizes, including an NES Classic Edition. If you donate $50 or more throughout the week,
hey guys,
you will definitely get a chance at that, so make sure you donate.
How does Casper sound in your ears? Is that all right? And how about yourselves? Runner 1, that's you right there. Alex, what's up? How's your volume yourself in your ears? Are you okay hearing yourself? You sure? Okay, cool. And everyone else on the couch, you guys good for
We
volume
have
yourselves?
$200 from Mr. Stu. Thank you so much for that.
And how's your game audio, Lex? Do you want up or down? Cool. And commentary, you're good to go? Okay, give me a sec then, all right? All right, yo, let's throw it across.
Alrighty, guys, I'm going to throw it over to HD with Luigi's Mansion.
All right, so really quick before we begin the run. All right, so just really quick before we begin the run, there's a glitch in this game that saves about 10 seconds. You do it every time you boot up the console. What this glitch does is, I'll just demonstrate really quick. So there's a way you can disable the minimap in this game by, so this is the minimap. There's a way to disable it by going into the training room here. And how we disable it is we're gonna soft reset the console, then we're gonna mash Y to open it up. And if we soft reset on the same frame that we open this up, it actually disables it. And we'll know if we got it if the screen goes black. All right, we did not get it. We'll go for it second try. All right,
Nice.
there we go.
Yeah,
Nice.
nice.
All right. Yeah. So it's beneficial to disable that because every time you pick up a key in this game, that minimap pops up and you have to mash B to mash through it, and yeah. And without that, it just saves about 0.2 to 0.3 seconds every time, so we're good to start the run now. I'll do a countdown and we'll start on go. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so I guess this would be a good time for us to introduce ourselves. I'm HD.
I'm Hippoot.
I'm Linkus7.
I'm Rhombus.
And I'm Boohead86.
All right, so the category we're doing for this is any percent no out of bounds. So what we're doing is we're beating the game at an 80% completion without using the out of bounds glitch. There's a glitch in this game about 6 minutes in. You can clip behind Chauncey's chest as it's spawning and go out of bounds and get to the final boss just by doing a few skews, alters of Luigi's angle.
For those not familiar, Chauncey is the first boss of this game.
Yes.
Yeah. So another thing you would see him do earlier is that he picked the hidden master when he started the game, which is kind of a new game plus. But because it completely resets everything, except the one difference in the Japanese version is that the vacuum is 1.5 times faster. We run on that. And you can also see that by the star in the bottom right corner.
All right, so normally the minimap would pop up there, but since we disabled it, it's just completely gone, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, so the main mechanic that it will be using throughout this run is we're starting this up in a ghost, and then you want to do it in the opposite direction. Now, there's two different methods for this. I think HD uses the analog stick the most. So you can pull either the C stick or the analog stick in the opposite direction. And it does this about every 10 health to do it optimally.
All right, so you may be wondering why we don't double these guys up. So the ghosts in this game, they spawn in waves, and the next wave spawns after that ghost on the right is captured. You can get that ghost in that wardrobe at any duration.
Another thing you saw him do there is pulling out the Game Boy Harm, and that is to skip getting scared. Because if you do a specific bonking animation on that and you're in the Game Boy Harm mode, you actually don't get scared, so you get control of Luigi faster.
And that's just so that you're able to suck up the ghost, the frame that it's available to be suck up. So there's a lot of little mini optimizations in this game that we may or may not explain. Like for this instance, excuse me, you always take the door in a double set of doors to Luigi's left, and it saves about a second over taking the right door.
Yes.
And that's just the way the game is designed.
All right, so we're coming up on our portrait ghosts. What we were fighting before were just our basic normal ghosts, but there's only one of each portrait ghost, and each portrait ghost has their own unique characteristics. There's different ways to capture each of them. For this one, we just face away from him, wait for him to yawn, and then we suck him up immediately.
You can also see that a ton of pearls drop there, which we will be ignoring because any money does not matter for the 80% category. That is only required in the 100% category.
And optimally, HD is going to be trying to lose all the money that he actually has. Unfortunately, you can only lose coins in this game. But at the end of each area, it counts how much money you have. And the less money you have, obviously, the more time you save. So getting no pearls at all on the first two portrait ghosts would have been optimal, but sometimes it's just unavoidable.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't work out that way. All right, so we're coming up on our first area boss. Area 1 is the shortest area. It's only about 6 minutes long. All right, so there's 2 phases to this fight. We're on the first phase right now. All right.
Yeah, so you see that the area bosses are different from the other portrait ghosts in the way that they always go to a separate arena, and it's basically like each area boss ends that kind of chapter.
Yeah, so for Chauncey's, he just shrinks us down and puts us inside of his crib.
So at the start of this fight here, you're going to see HD go to the very right side and then move to the very left side, and that's to trigger these rocking horses that he's going to throw at him. When you move to the right and then to the left, he will throw the rocking horses at you as fast as possible, and that just saves tons of time. And then he's going to line himself up here and catch the ball instantly, and then let go of Chauncey above 50, because if you get him below 50, the second cycle actually lasts longer. And it's impossible to do him in just one cycle, so to be faster, we just let him go above 50.
Yeah, and again, I'm trying to lose money, so I'm getting hit on purpose.
And that doesn't waste any time.
Yeah, so he's gonna get hit right here, but that's for a different reason, and it's because of the fact that after you get hit, you have damage avoidability frames, and also if you bonk on something, it delays that timer. It doesn't count during it, and that will give him just enough time to get hit by the ball, which will make it so you can pick it up, and then it will be placed right in front of him, and doesn't lose time by getting hit backwards and land.
Yeah, so normally if we were doing an out-of-bounds run, we would go behind this chest and then just walk out of bounds, but we're not doing that.
Solid area 1. And those ball patterns are always the same. And set up the same way.
So at the end of each area, there's this little cutscene where EGAD turns the ghosts back into portraits. It's unskippable and is usually just a time to relax between each area.
Yeah, so this would be a great time to read donations if you have them.
Alrighty, we got $50 from Punjom that says, "Hey y'all, I'm excited for another fantastic week of Games Done Quick. I've been watching live ever since 2014, and I've loved every moment. Supporting great charities while exhibiting excellent skills is a great thing to see. Here's to another great week. Donation to Reader's Choice." We have $100 from Anonymous that says, "Here's getting medical care and hope to those who need it most."
So that first cutscene is the shortest of all of them because it varies in length depending on how many portrait ghosts you catch in the area, and there's only 3 in Area 1.
Yeah, there's about 5 or 6 in Area 2.
Yeah. Also, we were avoiding a lot of money here. That won't be as big of a thing because you will have a lot of money naturally by a lot of different things. So it's mostly in Area 1 where we get hit intentionally to lose money. It's not usually worth it in later areas.
Yeah, like there's an ideal time save where you just get absolutely no money and waste absolutely no time counting anything, and you can just immediately go into the next area.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to get introduced to some new ghosts right away here. I'm going to get grabbed on purpose, shake him off in the opposite direction of the other ghosts so I can get a quick double.
Yeah, so for most rooms, you just basically get all the ghosts as quick as possible. And also how most of these cycles work is more ghosts spawn after you got all of them. So you usually try and group them up to get, like, for example, a triple or a quad or so.
Yeah, you'll be seeing a 6-piece in Area 4.
Hopefully.
Boston Burn.
So for Shy Guys, you have to take off their masks to scare them first. And it is kind of annoying as well because their hitbox is very small and it's not the best. So you kind of have to try and get a good angle to be able to hit them both.
But we
Yeah.
got him.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, with setting up the angle there, you see HD kind of try to position himself so his flashlight doesn't auto-lock onto the ghosts.
So on this portrait ghost right here, you can get an early release.
We got
sick.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah.
It's completely RNG based whether or not they show their heart then or in a couple seconds after that.
Yeah, they can has a whole other lap, which is a cycle, but sadly there's no way to manipulate that. So
Yeah, so that's called early release. They can just show their hearts 10 seconds early for no reason if they just feel like it.
A time save worth clapping for.
you also see HD the little thing here where there's this cloth behind this wall, and we won't actually move the wall until later, but you can somehow just grab it by standing in that corner. And because you have to wait for the next ghost to spawn anyways, it's a small time save to remove it now, so we can just run to the switch later.
Nice.
Yeah, shout-outs to Jared's Giants for finding that.
So now we watch this little cutscene, and you'll see that the poster is actually not on top of that
Yeah.
button
Yeah,
like
normally
it
there'd
normally
be
would.
a poster there.
Yeah.
So that allows you to just run right over and press the button instantly, or
Yeah.
knock on the wall.
Yeah, so what we're releasing here is the boost, which is one of the biggest parts of the run, which is also sadly one of the most RNG-based run parts of the run. Because how boosts work is they usually hide in one object throughout the room. And some rooms that are pretty big, they can be in the next corner. And another thing is also they can re-hide if you take a while to search them. And there's always 2 different objects that they hide in. There's a fake, and then there's the actual boo. And for specifically the first boot coming up after this cutscene, there's also a tech skip we can go for, which is a glitch. But we might not be able to go for it depending on his positioning in the room.
Yeah, so for some strange reason, if you catch a boo and then immediately suck up a cloth of some kind, it'll skip the text that happens after the cloth because it'll reset the last thing that was in Luigi's vacuum.
Yeah, like the game just recognizes that the last thing you sucked up was a cloth and not a boo.
So there's a couple different places you can do that. The most common places and the easiest places to do it are in this room and in the bedroom. Now, we didn't go for it there because, as you can see, there was a bump in the table, which means either the boo or the decoy is in there.
But luckily,
and
we got the boo.
Luckily, the boo was in there.
So if we got that text skip, we'd be able to skip all this text. It's about 7 seconds, depending on if you get optimal luck.
Yeah, you can do text skips in a lot of the rooms, but some rooms are either really hard because of the cloth that you can suck up, or also we don't want to do it purely because the setup takes quite a while. And if you see right here, normal boosts like this one, the text box is really short, so it might not be worth it. But the first boo, EGAG, kind of gives you a short rundown of how sucking up boos work.
That was actually pretty good RNG for those
Yeah.
first three
wow.
rooms.
Good stuff.
Still got it.
So now we see the first instance of mirror warping, where basically if you use the Game Boy Horror to scan a mirror, you'll teleport back to the main lobby. And you'll see that a couple times in the run because it's faster to go back there to get to wherever we're going instead of walking back.
The reason HD is going for boos right now is because you need 5 to actually progress through the rest of the game.
Yeah. There are more boosts you could get right now, but it's faster via the route because there's some backtracking going on if you're trying to get them all. So we just get the 5 and then continue on.
Yeah, we get the boos in the rooms where the portrait ghosts were back in Area 3.
And there's a couple different milestones throughout the game where you need certain amounts of boos. So to progress the game right now, we need to get 5, which is what we're doing now. And then by the end of Area 3, we need to have 20, but we'll actually have 21 because of a newer route in the game. Newer, I say, because it was actually only new as of, last year?
Yeah, there have been a lot of route changes in this game throughout the past few years.
And then by the end of the game, we need to have at least 40 of the 50 boos to finish the game.
All right, so we're coming up to our first of 3 elements in this game. Fire is the first one.
These are a new type of ghost they haven't seen before. They're just like the grabbers, except that they are invisible when they spawn. But they always spawn in the same positioning, so we can kind of learn where they spawn at.
And unlike the ones in the bathroom, if these touch you, they actually do damage, but it's negligible.
There are different variants of grabber ghosts. There are these that you can't see in the foreground. There are the ones that we saw in the bathroom, and they're actually red grabbers that you can see and do damage.
Yeah.
So something you're going to see him do now is a save warp, where after each boo, you have the opportunity to save the game. And in this instance, if you grab the boo at the same time you grab the fire medallion, and then save and quit, you actually skip a pretty long text box that is caused by the fire medal. Nice.
Yeah, and there's also convenient to fire right here to the left, so it's very quick to pick up.
What is that, like 10 seconds?
It's about 6, yeah.
6 seconds.
Yeah, that's also a newer strat compared to the old runs.
So now we're going to backtrack back into this room and light these candles because we need those to get the key to progress the game. So something you'll see him doing throughout the run is if he moves from a room where his flashlight is not out to a room where Luigi will take his flashlight out, you'll see him shoot a little bit of whatever element he has in his vacuum. In this case, it's fire, and then there'll be water and ice later. That actually skips a short animation and saves somewhere around 0.5 seconds each time, which adds up over the run and is actually pretty important.
Yeah, and you get a little boost from doing that as well. You can also do that in a lit room with the vacuum. So if you just shoot an elemental ball of whatever element you have and then take out your vacuum, you just skip the animation of you taking the vacuum out.
So what HD is going to try to do right here is actually get this short little cutscene skip with Mario's hat. You got
nice,
it.
you got
Nice, nice. It's a short, small time save, but it skips the animation of the camera panning over to the chest when it appears. And the reason, sorry for interrupting. The reason he opens it before going into this room is to skip the animation of it panning again when he walks back into the launcher
Yeah,
room.
if you go 2 rooms away from one of those chests without opening it and then go back to that room, the camera will pan over to it because I guess it assumes you forgot that it existed.
Yeah. So what's coming up here is another text skip, and this is the only Japanese-only really glitch. And that is done by us going into the mice hole while the boo is going to your vacuum. And for some reason, it actually delays the text if it's in English, but it completely skips it just like the cloth on Japanese version.
Nice.
And the quad.
That quad's actually pretty difficult to pull off sometimes.
Yeah, so besides the text, this is the only other JP time save.
Mm-hmm.
The reason, besides setting up for the quad there, is that those are actually ice elemental ghosts, and you actually need the fire element to melt the ice elemental off them to make them into regular punchers. And something about this game is that if you spawn the element that takes away the ghost's element before it actually spawns, then it will skip the animation of it getting hurt from the element. So he's able to set it up there with the last one to get the quad.
So I tried to get another tech skip there with that towel that was hanging. Shout outs to Michael for making that a meme. Laundry boo tech skip. All right, so to activate this portrait ghost, we just need to turn on all the instruments in this room.
Yeah, so you will see that we're in Japanese version, and the reasoning for that, except the text skip, is also that the text is a lot faster, because there's a lot of text coming up later. But another common question is how we know the answers, and she can only possibly play 2 songs, either a water theme, which is right now, which is the first option, or Super Mario Brothers 3, which would be the third one. So right here, HD knows you can smash A, basically.
We used to think this song was the optimal song because it's the first option, but actually, the Super Mario Brothers 3 song is shorter. And we would have never known that if we didn't time it, so.
Yeah, and for some reason, nobody ever thought to time the actual length of the song until recently.
Yeah.
So he sucked up Melody on the right there. You can actually open that drawer on the right during that chest cutscene, and if the boo is in there, it saves a little bit of time. But unfortunately, the boo was not over there.
Yeah, we got worse luck in this room.
Saxophone.
Overall, I'm pretty satisfied, though. We've gotten some pretty good RNG.
Oh, one thing we didn't mention, you'll notice him pointing his flashlight up at the ceiling a lot in these hallways. That's to prevent, you saw that ceiling ghost spawn after Melody's room. If they spawn near Luigi, Luigi will stop in place and do a scared animation. So by pointing our flashlight up and towards the center of the hallway, we prevent them from spawning.
Yeah, so that was another elemental ghost. If we use our element to break that ghost element before they spawn, then it just acts like it was never there. Yeah. So we save about a second.
This is also why it's important to try and not waste too much of your element, because we can skip picking up more fire and we use it all the way until here. Because when you grab the new element, it replaces the old one. So now we only have water. Good. Another thing I don't think we mentioned is actually how the boost trap works.
I was about to mention that.
Yeah. So basically, when you start sucking on a ghost or a boo, the boo will stay for about 10 HP, and then we'll start to try and move away. And what we discovered about 2-3 years ago is that if you hold in the L button and then you R pump every 10 HP, the boo will stay in place. And there's a cap for this, which is about 15 times. But that means that up to 150 HP, you can actually one-cycle them without them moving around, which in the past was a huge problem because you maybe could get half of it, like 50, 60, and then kind of would run away. But now we can kind of keep them in the spot.
So he's going to go for a double with these ghosts here, which he got. Their movement is partially RNG based, but is somewhat manipulatable to get that skeleton to move over to the first one to get the double.
All right, so unlike Chauncey, who we could not one-cycle, we can actually one-cycle Bogmire here. So we're going to be going for that.
Yeah. So this is now the second area boss, just like Chauncey.
An interesting thing to note that's actually extremely pointless in a speedrun is if you hold R while Luigi is entering this cutscene, he'll pull out his vacuum during the cutscene. So in this cutscene, he'll actually have the vacuum in his hand if you do that. But what actually happens if you do that is Bogmire will spawn in a different location than he normally does. And,
That also happens if you move the C-stick.
yeah. So it's really best to just not touch the controller during that cutscene.
Nice one cycle.
That was a good one cycle.
PogChamps in the chat.
So besides Melody Room, Boo RNG, that was an overall
Yeah,
really
this is
solid,
a
really,
pretty
really,
good
really
time.
solid area too.
All right, so we're coming up to the same cutscene we did after Area 1, so this would be another good time to read donations.
Yeah.
Alrighty. We got $400 from Sam Denow that says, longtime watcher. Was very happy when I found out the week I picked to take off work was the week of GDQ. Putting this money towards Crypta the Necrodancer, random seed 17, because I believe that is the most random number. We got $200 from Matthew that says, looking forward to the Metro Prime run. It was one of the first games I played on GameCube, and I'm looking forward to seeing it broken. We got $10 from Pico that says, I'll donate again if the reader does their best impression of a spooky ghost. And thanks to GeoTim90194, who donates $15, they say, boo! So thank you for that. We got $151 from Anonymous that says, good job and continue the good work. Let this year break records from last year.
All right, so now we're moving on to Area 3. One of the most RNG-heavy parts of the run, so hopefully we see some good RNG.
Also one of the most pivotal parts of casual playthroughs, where you actually figure out what's going on with this mansion.
Yeah, and after each area, the hallway lights up.
So the first thing he's going to do is grab water out here, and then he's actually going to keep spraying water as he moves towards this well over here. And that's to skip climbing down this ladder. We can just sort of take a little dive down.
And you also avoid getting scared.
And now we know where Mario's being held. King Boo trapped them inside of a painting.
Not like this.
And then we just ignore him and move on.
All right, so this is the second out of fifth Mario item that we pick up. Once we get all five, we're going to be taking them to the fortune teller, where she's going to tell us about Mario's whereabouts, but we already know where he is, so it's pretty pointless.
Adding on to what Rhombus had mentioned earlier about spraying element coming from a light room into a dark room, the same goes for keys and the note as such.
So
right.
what he... You can
Go ahead.
So what he just did there is he shot an element ball actually through the ceiling, and that door is usually on fire, but he put it out through the floor.
Because hitboxes in this game are cool.
Yeah. And basically that just, when you put out a door that's on fire, there's a period of time where there'll be smoke in front of it and you can't walk through the door. So that period of time actually lasts for almost exactly the amount of time that it takes for him to walk up the stairs there.
And this is the third and final element, ice. Something unique ice can do is it can actually freeze boos in place, so if you need something to do during that time, you can do that.
Yeah, you can also take out fire elemental ghosts as well. Nice.
I don't know about for anybody else, but when I play, that boo usually always moves during the ice text.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a pretty risky hallway to get scared in, so that was unfortunate. I got hit by the mouse. All right, I'm going to do left side to be safe. Normally I would pull Nana over to the right side, but
Yeah.
just to be safe.
And he wasn't on the left.
Don't want to lock onto the pearls and lose the boo.
Rip Nana.
Hopefully. Ah, that sucks. Yeah, so this is where RNG can play a bigger role because it's in the far corner, so you have to go all the way there and then back.
So you'll see he actually freezes the boo in place while he opens that chest. And then we can
Nice.
grab
Nice.
the key at the same time as the boo.
Yeah, so rather than waiting for the key to become obtainable after we catch the boo, I just open it halfway through the boo's HP, so once I capture the boo, I can just grab the key immediately and go.
So those mice in that hallway might seem pretty harmless, and they are, but if they hit you, Luigi will kind of double over in pain, and that means we're not pointing our flashlight at the ceiling anymore, which means an onslaught of ceiling ghosts might spawn there. I think there's 2 ceiling ghosts and 1 bowling ghost that can spawn there, and it's not fun when it happens. So this is just some movement manipulation of these ghosts to get them in doubles, and this is going to be a triple.
I'm not going for
no,
it.
he's not going for the triple.
I don't do the triple.
You can do a triple there. That saves a pretty small amount of time.
Yeah, it's about half a second, and it's pretty difficult, so I just opt not to go for it.
So you're going to go for the 360 no scope?
Nah.
Damn.
Please do not.
I know I wouldn't dream of it.
Yeah, so right now we have to hit the moon here with a comet and make it explode, because that's what the moon does. And the lineup is actually weirdly precise and not where you'd think you'd need to aim. If you aim at the moon, you probably won't hit the moon.
Yo, I think I forgot Petunia.
You
You
did.
did.
Oh, yeah, you did. Ooh.
Well,
Oh, you picked up fire as well.
All right, so we're just going to make a small route change.
Yeah, we're coming up with a brand new route right here, guys.
Marathon strats.
Yeah.
We'll just go get ice and then go back and get Petunia.
For your enjoyment exclusively.
Then we'll just mirror warp out of there.
yeah, so there's a portrait ghost that he forgot about that is in the room to the left of Nana's room. Pretty forgettable portrait ghost, but necessary nonetheless.
To be honest, we don't want to see it.
Yeah, you can mirror warp out and then pick up the fire in the first room in area 1 while you're searching for the boo.
All right. So I'm just going to get ice here, and then we're going to go head back and get Petunia.
My favorite button, the Mario button. Whenever you press A and Luigi is not near a wall or an object he can interact with, he'll just say Mario's name looking for him, even though at this point in the game he knows exactly where he is.
Because there isn't enough Mario in this game.
Mario?
All right. We're just going to mirror warp out of here.
Mirror hitboxes are fun.
Yeah.
All hitboxes are fun in this game.
There's some good hitboxes in this game. Protector. All right, so now we're back on track for the normal route. We just made some minor detours there.
Except we have ice instead of fire, but that's okay.
Yeah, it makes no difference. Fortunately, there's no elemental ghosts.
Saves you from having to go back into that room, actually, even a later
That is
room.
true.
The Safari room, which you
Yeah.
actually need ice for.
Normally, after we talk to Clairvoya for a while, we'll go into the Safari room where there's fire elemental ghosts, not fire elemental, water elemental ghosts that you need ice for. And normally we'd have to take a quick detour into that room to get ice on our way up. But since we already have ice, we won't have to do that.
Yeah, and for those of you not familiar with who Clairvoya is, she's the fortune teller in the room that we skipped back in Area 2. And once we get all of Mario's items, we go back to talk to her so we can progress through the rest of the game.
So that right there is an optional portrait ghost. There's several of those throughout the run that we just kind of skip because they're pointless.
Yeah, you've seen 3 of them already.
There's 5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
We don't see the last 2. That's the last optional portrait ghost you'll see.
Yeah, in Area 2 you saw Lugs right before the kitchen, and then at the start of this area you saw Biff the weightlifter.
Switched on me. So now we're just doing some backtracking, going back to rooms we've previously visited. So it's only convenient to get the booze here because we have to come back and get the twins.
So you have to spin that mobile to spawn the twins, which is an interesting design choice, and I know, at least for me, was kind of a tough thing to figure out as a kid, because it does not tell you anywhere that you need to do that.
Yeah, I know some people actually do say they did not know you could vacuum these boxes. They kind of just YOLO'd it until they found the correct ones. But how you know which box they're in is if it shakes, that means they're in it, and if it doesn't, then it's empty.
So this is actually 2 portrait ghosts in one. They count as 1 portrait, but you have to catch them separately.
And the red one has the pearls.
Yeah, the red one has the pearls, so we catch the blue one first.
And normally in a category like 100%, you get the blue one first. You'd always get the blue one first, but to be extra careful, like there's another portrait ghost coming up called Toy Soldiers in Area 4, and you get the one with the pearls last just to make sure you can get all the pearls and
Yeah,
not
not
get
only
hit by
that,
anything
since
else.
the blue one's on the ground, he can just ram right into you if you're capturing the red one first.
Another tricky thing that HD is handling pretty well here are the pearl auto locks. When there are pearls on the ground and a boo in the room, a boo can cackle a lot depending on where your vacuum goes when it's aiming against a pearl. And that can cause the boo to actually escape and you lose some time.
Yeah, so this game has an auto-locking mechanic to help with the aiming of your vacuum a little bit if you want to be sucking up money or hearts or pearls. But for some reason, it tends to prioritize all of those things over boos, which can really screw you up when you're trying to catch the boo and not the items, the useless items scattered around the floor.
All right, so we're going to be going for another tech skip here.
What? How did that not work?
You didn't pull the sheet off too much.
Yeah.
That's okay though. At least you didn't get long text. There is a chance that after Area 2, after sucking up a boo, you can get long text where EGAD talks about basically the elements, or this guy named Van Gore, who's the last portrait ghost we'll actually get next to the final boss.
Yeah, and that room also lags a lot, so if you don't get it and you get long text, that just adds insult to injury.
Yeah, especially if you get Van Gore text. I think it wastes, probably like 15 seconds if it lags bad, yeah.
We have time for donations here. This is just a lot of text
Yeah, just a
mashing.
minute and 30 of mashing.
Alrighty, we got $50 from Char Bunny that says, Luigi's Mansion! Thanks to the runner and the catch for explaining things so well. I love learning about games just as much as I enjoy watching them be beaten fast. Keep up the good work.
You're welcome. Thanks for watching.
We got $10 from Javi79 that says, since GDQ 2015, I'm more than happy to say that I love the speedrun community. LM was my first speaking and I really love it. Good luck, HD. Show us how amazing you are. Cheers from Spain and greetings to one of the sweetest hosts in the event. Enjoy Super Sweet Casper Lady. The donation goes to the runner's choice.
Thank you, Avi.
We got $5 from Dante56 that says, greeting from Hong Kong. Shout out to my boy A2 Rhombus. Can't wait to see you in college. Money goes to his choice.
Thanks, man.
We got another one for Rhombus. Oh my God. We got $10 from Dorito and Nuzzles that says, shout out to our dear friend, the cute boy Romby on the couch. Hope you guys are having fun with Luigi's Mansion. And Romby has a new Twitch subscriber. Good luck.
Love you guys.
Dude, you're famous. We got $50 from Saturn New Hacky that says, been watching GDQ for years, still haven't been able to come out to visit, but I did save up enough to leave in order to take time off and watch it from comfort of home. Here's to a great week.
So that's probably the quickest boo in the game. He literally just darts out right as soon as you
booked
spawn
it.
him.
Yeah. And that was just one of the examples
Yeah.
of this stupid Pearl auto-locking and the long boo text as well.
So luckily he went into a nearby lit room there, so it doesn't waste too much time, but if you're on a good run, that kind of thing can really throw you off.
And another thing about boos is that if you lose a boo and it goes into a dark room, you actually have to wait till the boo leaves that room and goes into another light room, because the game does not allow you to actually finish sucking up a boo unless it's in a light room.
Yeah, you can slowly drain off their health, but you can't actually suck them up in a dark room.
You can actually get the boo down to 0 health in a dark room and still not be able to suck it up.
Yeah, for some reason they actually count 0 as a health. So 0 health is just like 1 or 2. So they can escape with 0, which is a very, very annoying.
So this is Safari Room, one of my personal favorite rooms, just because of the pretty, not necessarily precise, but pretty intricate movement around this room, especially this double right here, which
Nice.
you got.
We're also introduced to those white ghosts, the blue bashers. I don't think we've seen them yet.
Yeah. I can also tell if it's an optimal suck up on the banana ghosts if they actually don't even drop a banana at all. So you will see that we have 21 boosts here, but you need to make sure, if you make a route, that you have at least 20 boosts, because you cannot actually enter the every 3 bosses, which is Colossus, if you do not have 20 boosts. But since we have 21, that's obviously fine.
Yeah, so normally there'd be a boost standing right here if we didn't have 20.
Yeah. Another thing you will see him there is switch to sidestep, because if you see here he's walking up left, but his flashlight is standing up. Normally what the standard setting is that the flashlight is going to face whatever direction Luigi is facing. But this keeps it in track, and this is easier to actually set up precise angles for this fight, because we're going to have to use the ice element to defeat all of these boos. And another bonus is, since this boss is actually a ton of boos, you will gain a lot of that, so you won't have to get a lot of Area 4 boos.
Yeah, it gives you 15 boos for beating the boss.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty interesting game design choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this boss is the bane of most casual players' existence because of the just awful AI to deal with when you get to a lower amount of boos. But hopefully he'll be able to manipulate them in a way
Yeah.
Another
where-
interesting game design choice.
Yeah.
where he'll be able to get them all in a cluster and freeze them all together.
Ooh. Yeah, that's good.
There
Sick.
we go.
So when that
Nice.
That was good. That was good. So when that camera zooms in at the end there, the camera will zoom in when there's 1 boo left, and so if that happens in your first cycle, you know you got a 1 cycle.
Yeah. So if there's 2 or more, they can basically go into Colossus again after an X amount of time. That's really good.
And that's just a dumb time loss.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get that one cycle, especially to get it consistent.
Right.
Yeah, and also even if you do that whole setup you did correctly and you get all of them, for some reason sometimes the boo can get stuck on the unicorn all the way to the right.
Right.
So even if you're like, oh, it's only one left, you can see that the camera doesn't pan in. That means the one got stuck. So that can definitely troll you.
Yeah, so you have to walk all the way across the arena again just to get that last one.
That's just another aspect of the many instances of RNG in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was overall good.
So now we're coming up to Area 4. The beginning part of Area 4 is just a bunch of walking. So we'll just be walking from the top of the mansion to the bottom, to the top again, and to the bottom.
More donations?
Lots and lots of walking.
Yeah.
All right. We got $150 from Balthazar228 that says, I remember getting this game on my GameCube for the first time. Shouts to FireDragon764 for actually getting me to play it last year. So pumped for the guacamole run coming up. Can I get a Mario from All the Couch Together?
Mario?
Mario.
You have to do the one where he screams.
I'm not doing it. Mario.
How about you, Boohead? You want to go at it?
There it is.
Boohead is Luigi.
That was actually a pretty good impression.
Yeah.
Hopefully we won't have to hear that Luigi say that in that way in this run, because he'll only say it if you get pretty low on HP.
Yeah. Thank you for pointing it out, though, because now I'll think about it every time he yells Mario.
Oh, yeah. All right, so this is the blackout portion of the game. So the main reason we're in sidestep here is because normally there'd be ghosts spawning left and right on this balcony, but as long as we have our flashlights on their spawn points, they can't spawn at all. So you can actually get through this entire portion of the game without a single ghost spawning.
Yeah, there will be a lot of more ghosts being able to be spawned in every single room, and every room that was light before are out because of the blackout right now. And this is also one of the parts that might take a while to find as a casual, because I do not believe they actually show you on the map where to go. They just kind of give you a hint where there's a mirror, because there's one in the wardrobe. And also what's coming up now then is Uncle Franker Z. So Franker Z's in the chat.
Spam your Franker
Yeah.
Z's.
So basically, he can show his heart whenever he wants to, and he can either show it even straight away from walking through this door, or he can just stand around and wait for 20 seconds. So
All right,
yeah,
that's
that's
pretty
pretty
good.
good.
That was about
Yeah.
3 seconds.
So that's good RNG right there.
The best RNG would be when you walk in and he's already showing you his
Yeah.
heart. But that was still really good.
Yeah, most people wouldn't. Actually, I don't think I know anybody who would complain over
nice
Grimly
wardrobe.
that fast.
Yeah.
We got some good information about that wardrobe just then.
Yeah.
So now we're just going to go down into the breaker room and turn the lights back on. Because for some reason, even though the lights went out because lightning struck, all it really did was just flip the switch down.
Yeah, Nintendo logic. So you're gonna go for the one cycle here?
Nah. Michael probably would, but we're not doing it.
There is a boo in this room that has 200 health, and it's possible to one cycle, but it's extremely difficult.
Yeah, you have to have a precise setup. It's
Yeah.
really difficult.
And if you do pull it off, the route actually becomes pretty different and saves quite a bit of time. But if you don't pull it off, you have to revert to a completely different route. And it wastes a whole bunch of time. So it's really not worth going for.
Yeah. Another thing I don't think we've actually been seeing dropped, which can happen especially in some of these rooms because there's a lot of objects you check, or poisonous mushrooms that can drop. And if you get hit by one of those, you're mini Luigi for about 10 seconds, and you cannot suck up any of the booze. So if that happens when you're searching for the boo, that's very bad.
So that boot double cackled a lot, but we still got the one cycle.
Yeah. If you double cackles 2-3 times, then it's a 150 boo, which is actually coming up in 2 of these rooms. It's a little worse.
Yeah, these next 2 boos are actually my least favorite.
Yeah.
But we won't see them for a bit because we have to do some cleanup work in the attic and on the roof. So just more running around the mansion.
Want to read some donations? Maybe?
Yeah, this would be perfect
Maybe
for
one or
donations.
2 more, yeah.
Alrighty. We have $20 from Del Papa that says, "Hey HD, enjoy the help you always gave when I had questions about this game when I first started wanting to get into speedrunning. Shout out to the Luigi's Mansion community." We have $50 from Million Sandwiches 160 that says, "Thanks to everyone at GDQ for creating this experience. I always hope this event can inspire people to help out MSF and other charities all year round. Keep on helping out, everyone. And can I get a Mario from the room?" Ooh, I think they just gave Boohead a run for his money.
Oh. Freaking Mario.
So HD's trying to go here for a double here.
Didn't work out.
He didn't quite get it. So that's not a big deal.
Why not go for it again?
He's going to get one here. Oh, no.
No, he didn't get it.
Oh, he might.
Maybe.
Yes!
Oh, he didn't get it. He's just kind of chilling over there.
That's all right. That's all
Not
right.
too bad.
So you can hold on to several of those guys at a time. It becomes more difficult to suck them up, and you run the risk of dropping them, but it does save time if you can do it without dropping them.
All right, so at the beginning of the run, I mentioned a 6-piece on Shy Guys. Gonna go for it damageless.
Nice.
Oh, baby.
Nice. That strat is not free. So he just led those ghosts way over to the left there because you can actually grab onto the ladder when in that chest spawning cutscene, which just saves a little bit of time. Because you'd have to run all the way over there and climb up that ladder anyway. So
And just like the well, we can spray our element and we'll just skip going down the ladder. And we actually got an RNG stumble skip there. It saves about a second.
I think you actually also got the stumble skip coming up from the well back in Area 3.
Yeah, but that's not RNG reliant. There's a method to skipping that one.
No.
There isn't to this one.
But that one does save 20 years.
Yeah.
Accurate.
Yeah, it's basically run over if you don't get it.
So here's another pretty technical room. You'll see some pretty interesting movement.
Yeah, and this room is about as laggy as the master bedroom because there's just so much stuff in here.
Sick.
Oh, we may have optimal RNG here.
Oh,
He's in
maybe.
here. That's best case scenario. Nice.
Yes, that was
All right,
nice.
and let's hear. Can this be one cycle? Oh,
Oh, this is sketchy.
Yo, if I get
with
this.
the double cackles. Oh, what a legend!
Oh my god.
Awesome.
That was ridiculous.
Wow, that was really sick. We could also skip taking up the cloth of the mirror because we can say warp down. Saves
There's a
second.
mirror behind a piece of cloth that you guys saw in the back of the room.
Also, you can save at those toads, but that's slow, so we just don't even bother talking to them.
Yeah.
So now we're just going to go back down to the basement. And we're actually going to go through this room this time and move on to pipe room. We don't actually have to clear pipe room. All we need to do is get the key. So we're just going to ignore the ghosts that spawn and just try not to have them try to disrupt our plans.
Nice.
All right, that was pretty good.
So they're just going to give Luigi a little hug there. It's fine.
Yeah, so in the old routes, we actually used to clear this whole room and then get a boo here. Because it is a pretty easy one to get. It's one of the slowest moving ones, even though it's a 300. But because of that, that is actually pretty slow. And there is a chance that it goes into a room that makes it really slow.
Yeah, so you can just manipulate that 300 HP boo to each side of the room back and forth, and you just keep doing that until you get him in one cycle.
So this guy's a lot of people's least favorite parts of the run, outside of area bosses. Because
Dude's about as difficult as one.
the ice floor
Nice.
makes one cycling like that pretty difficult.
Right. The room's not over yet, though. He still has to get the boo.
Yeah.
If this boo goes up in the pipe room, that's really bad. Yeah, he just slides on the ice. I think he double cackled, so I'm going to stop R pumping at 10 HP.
I'm not sure if he did, but
We'll
No,
play
I don't
it
think he did.
safe.
Nice.
Alright, good stuff.
Nice. All right. Awesome.
and we'll save warp on this boo too because it's faster to save warp there than to walk back up.
So that was one cycle for both of the 150 boos, which is really good.
So HD is going to get a Fire Elemental here for the last Portrait Ghost. The fight consists of trios of almost every ghost type we've encountered during the game, and he needs fire to finish off a type of ghost that you'll see when we get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't technically need the fire for it, but it just makes it so much easier and so much faster. Not so much faster, but definitely easier.
Plus, it's a lot safer than just going for the triple on those guys.
Exactly.
And we will point that out at the end of Vangor.
Fun fact, the doors on the left side of this hallway here are all fake.
Yeah, there are fake doors in this game. You can actually burn them to know if they're fake, or you can just shake them with your vacuum. If it shakes, it's a real door. If it doesn't, it's fake.
Mm-hmm.
And had we not done the map glitch in the beginning of the run, you'd see that there's actually no doorway on the map, so...
Yeah.
If you actually try to open one of the fake doorways, it'll swing open and smash Luigi against the wall. You'll lose health and...
And you'll hear ghosts laugh.
Yeah, ghosts will laugh. You'll lose health. You'll lose a lot of time. It's not a fun time.
Yeah. And you become a temporary pancake. Oh.
That's all right, that's all right.
That's okay.
So each of these ghosts
Right.
will spawn, and they will all spawn right in front of the.
Yeah, so we're going to try to get them right when they spawn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you do miss it, it also their positioning becomes RNG throughout the room. So you prefer to try and get them all right when they spawn.
Some of them are harder than others because of their hitboxes. This ghost is actually, in my opinion at least, the hardest one because their hitbox is extremely small.
Yeah.
And also, if you miss the triple and then get grabbed by one of the other ones, they will make you let go of the other ones.
And then they'll spawn all over the room, and it's just a big mess.
So he didn't get the triple on the grabber ghost, but it actually was still pretty fast because he didn't get grabbed by one.
And a big reason for grabbing fire earlier was for these ghosts right here, coming up, spawning in the roof. You can just fire them.
I don't think we've seen a poisonous mushroom all run.
No,
That's
that was
No,
the first
yeah.
one. So
What
all
do you
three
guys
of
wanna
those
explain
ghosts
that?
have 0 HP, and you just kind of burn them and forget about them.
Yeah, so for the poisonous mushrooms, if you get hit by one, they turn Luigi completely midi, and you can't do anything for about 10 seconds. I guess the only thing good coming out of it is the high-pitched Mario call.
All right, so that was a good
looks.
first
Nice.
cycle. You can get this guy in a minimum of 2 cycles. Getting him below 150 HP on the first cycle is the most optimal. Nice.
Nice.
Nice. That's the last boo of the game.
All right, now we're gonna save warp out of here one last time.
So the funny thing about that boo is even though you catch it in Van Gore's room after fighting Van Gore, one of EGAD's information text boxes tells you all about Van Gore, and you can get it on that boo.
Yeah. So the reasoning for, I'm not sure if you mentioned this, but just like Bolossa, so you can enter with, without 20 boos or more, the reasoning we actually get 40 in the any percent category is because otherwise King Boo will be in front of the corridor and just it blows you back to the lobby. So we need to get 40 boos, and we need to get the actual key to enter, which you do get from Van Gore.
All right, this is 57 pace.
Nice.
This would have been this may have been world record if I didn't
Yeah,
forget
that's
Petunia.
really good. If
This is actually a really good time.
Petunia and the fortune teller boo.
This
It's
This is
insane. It's
crazy.
insane though. It's great.
Actually, a pretty good run.
Yeah.
so world record is 56-51. This is gonna be like a 57-26. My PB is 57-23, so I made about a 40-second mistake for getting Petunia.
So here we're gonna fight King Boo, who's actually in a giant costume or possession of Bowser.
Spoilers.
It's
I mean, he's right there.
Yeah,
it's
starting to get-
debatable. People have speculated over whether it's a mechanical Bowser or a Bowser costume or whatever.
Or if he just took control of real Bowser.
Yeah, but either way, he'll chase you around the map and he'll throw things at you and he'll try and blow fire and suck you up. But we can actually manipulate him so that he will just stay in place and allow us to catch King Boo in peace.
And optimally here, you can get a 2-cycle on King Boo.
Yeah, so we're on every single boo, we basically do the boost strat. So we're actually not going to do it the whole time because, like I said earlier, if you do the boost strat, there's a cap in the game that stops you. So in the beginning here, what you would like to is for King Boo to not go too high up or too far down. And you just try and suck on him. And then when it goes to lower HP, you do the boost strat to try and basically
Nice.
delay him for going
Wow.
back.
Nice.
That's
We at
really
least
good.
want him around
Yeah.
250, so getting him below that is really good.
Yeah, so that was good.
I believe the highest it's ever been two-cycled from was 272 or 273.
Yeah.
I got him down to
Somewhere around
270 earlier in practice, and he got away at 1, so.
Yeah.
But getting him under 250 is definitely useful.
Yeah. And
Times-
time is coming up here if he
Yeah,
gets
we're coming
this.
up on time.
Yeah, when he gets the gem from King Boo's crown.
And
Ooh,
time.
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 Yeah. Nice job.
Good job.
Really
Wow.
good run, really good run.
That was insane.
So as you can see, world record is not that difficult to beat.
Yeah, it's free for anyone that's rabbit.
Yeah, just
Right.
so everyone start
Yeah.
running the game.
Yeah,
and
I'll go get it
world
right.
record.
I'll go get it right now.
I came 2 seconds from PB, and I made a 40-second mistake for getting a portrait ghost. So this probably would have been world record if I didn't forget that. All right, so I guess we'll do shout-outs now. Shout-outs to the whole LM community. I know most of you guys are watching right now, so it means a lot, giving me your support. Shout-outs to these guys on the couch, Hippoot, Linkus7, A2 Rhombus, and Boohead86. These guys are really good at what they do as well.
All right, sure. I'll go next. So shout outs to East Coast, my buddy Graham, Brian, Hayden Hart. I love you guys. Shout outs to Javi, Spanish restream. I love you, man. I miss you. And shout outs to Fire Dragon 764. I'm actually repping his shirt right now. Somebody mentioned him in a donation. He was actually my inspiration to get started speedrunning, and some of these past events were actually leading up to that. So thank you.
And thank you, H, for bringing us this amazing run.
And just thanks to the
Yeah,
people
it
that
was really good.
thanks to the people that mentioned me in their donations. I love you guys. Honestly, I know who you guys are. I love you guys.
Explicitly those people, though,
Yeah.
nobody else.
Self-prom awesome.
And everyone else
Yeah.
that you guys said.
All right, so at the end of the game, it tells you how much you got, and at the end of the credits, you receive a house for how much money you collected. We got $6 million. You need 100 million to get the best possible rank. We got 6 million, so we're gonna get sweet new house.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have time to wait through the entire credits to see it, but
It's only about 3 minutes.
That's all right.
I know the estimate was pretty high anyways.
You gotta watch this though.
Yeah.
we can see Mario come through this. But yeah, basically you'd get a house or a mansion or a tent even if you have such a low amount of money. But yeah.
Yeah. Are you supposed to?
I also forgot to give another shout out real quick. My buddy Boone_7.
Any of you guys get shout outs?
Any more?
Any more shout outs?
No?
Boohead, you got shout outs?
Shout out to the LM tournament happening soon.
Happening soon, yep.
All right.
Yeah, follow the Luigi's Mansion community Twitch page. We have, like they said, a tournament coming up in a few days actually.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be pretty fun.
All right. I think we're good then.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
So now we just got the credits here.
Yep.
Alrighty, thank you so much, HD, for that awesome run. I'm going to play a quick ad and then throw it over to my boy Extra Toppings. Thank you guys so much.